This week on the podcast, it's all about Carrie's epic trip to Disneyland. She's finally gone home, and she's sharing with us all the differences between Disneyland and Walt Disney World when it comes to the holiday party season. And what happened when she walked in and saw the Muppets on the program? Stay tuned to find out. You're listening to the Pixie Dust Fan Podcast. Hi, I'm Francine.
And I'm Carrie.
We're two best friends who can't stop talking, usually about Disney stuff.
Sometimes we have fascinating guests, and sometimes it's just us. But it's always positive and fun.
We're happy to have you join our chat. Thanks for listening, and let's get started. Hi, Carrie.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm all right.
You're all right? You're home?
We're home. We're back to our regular podcast recording schedule.
We are.
Saturday mornings. How you doing?
How you doing? I know. It's, although I will say it was nice that we recorded so many in advance because, well, we had so many topics to cover. It was better that we just did them all at once. But it was kind of weird not, like, having a recording schedule.
It was.
It was weird, right?
Yep.
But I'm hopeful that everybody enjoyed the one while we were away because honestly, it was a little choppy, and in the end, it was just us sitting in the hotel room because we forgot to record.
I don't think it's that we forgot to record. I think it was maybe a little bit of that, but I think it was hard to find a good place to do it because it's noisy.
Yeah, there was one that we did, like there was a snippet we did in the ballroom, and you could totally hear the music in the background. But it's kind of like, that's the theme. That's where we were. And I know that the one we did a long time ago, the one we did in Hollywood Studios, it was the same thing. Like you could hear the park in the background, but it's kind of like on location. People do that. I don't know that we would do it all the time, but maybe we could try it from the parks next time we're there. Like not an event, but just in the parks. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was kind of fun. So this week, we're home from Walt Disney World, D23, blah, blah, blah. But we did talk a little bit about the fact that you were in Disneyland before Walt Disney World. Because,
Yep.
Carrie's a big coast-to-coast traveler now.
Listen, I couldn't go to Walt Disney World for a second time without going to Disneyland. It just didn't seem right.
It felt like it wasn't proper.
Yeah. And my travel buddy here just couldn't make it work.
No, I couldn't. And I do need to get back to Disneyland because I really want to see it again and get back there for sure. It's just, you know what, for some reason it's so logistically difficult in my brain. And I'm not quite sure why. I think I have a harder time booking a place to stay, and I have a harder time imagining the flights. It's like double the time. Like when I think of Walt Disney World, it's like zip, zip. I can be there 2.5 hours. Zip, zip. I can be home. It always feels like a much bigger ordeal for me to go to Disneyland. If that makes sense. Carrie's like, whatever. It's so simple. I can plan it all for you.
Well, the flight to Florida after not flying for so long is so short. Like, I thought about that when we were like, flying the first time. It's like, boy, we're here already. Like,
yeah,
it's a cinch. And yeah, Disneyland is a little bit longer, but whatever. It's like, for me, it's now like getting the pain for that is getting from LAX to Anaheim.
Oh yeah.
Like
that
it's such,
traffic
like
is
it's so
horrible.
Well, I don't even think the traffic is horrible. I just think it's so expensive. Like, because
how did you get to the resort? Or the hotel from LAX?
With the one way I went with Carmel shuttle, and then the way home I took an Uber. The way back I took an Uber, and whatever. Like that's the cost of doing Disney.
It's the cost of Disneyland.
But it's more because of COVID. You can't book a shared shuttle. Because you used to be able to pick like with Carmel and with Super Shuttle, you would pay $40.
And then you would be on the shuttle with a bunch of other... Right, but then you'd be on the shuttle with a bunch of other people going to Disneyland.
Right, but right now I believe, like, because the Carmel is only private, like, you can have 5 people with you, or 4 people. But it's like $130 or $140 for one way. And then I paid, with my tip, I paid probably $90 for my lift.
Wow.
Right? And so then convert that to Canadian.
Well,
like, I didn't even pay that much to park and fly at the valet lot in Toronto, probably for 15 days than what I paid for my round trip to get to and from the airport. So, and there's like close by, there's John Wayne Airport, SNA, but we can't get to it. Like,
I think I've looked into that airport before, and it's like it just ends up you have to do much more airport jockeying than car jockeying at the other end.
If you stay in Buffalo, like if you fly out of Buffalo, if we drove to Buffalo, we can get there with a connector. We can't even do a direct from Buffalo. Like we can connect, and I have done that before, for sure. But once, and it's really nice because it's a tiny, tiny airport, and it's really just
right.
It's very close to Disneyland, so it takes away
all that.
So it's like you're trading. You have a stopover, which depends how you look at it. It's not, and depending how if you've got all the lots of time. If you're trying to crunch in lots of days in your trip and didn't want to waste 2 full days of traveling, which you do 2 full days, but they're 2 longer days if you put a couple hour stopover in between. You're totally avoiding all the Los Angeles stuff. So it's sort of like, you could weigh it out depending if you didn't mind the stopover.
You pick your poison almost.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But anyways,
okay,
I didn't fly into there. I flew into LAX.
So let's start at the beginning. So Carrie decided she couldn't take it anymore. She needed to get to Disneyland. So she was going to Disneyland for some time before D23.
Yep.
And you didn't just go to Disneyland. Like, you did an extended trip. You were like, I've missed it so much. Mm-hmm. So you went for a good chunk of time.
Yep. Like a weekish. Maybe
a weekish. I think it was like 10 days, wasn't it? I think it was like 10 days you were there.
Crazy that I go that long.
I think you were there 10 days. So you started your journey, you flew into LAX, and you arrived at my favorite hotel. Oh no, your first night you weren't. You were at Paradise Pier.
We went to Paradise Pier for a night. Then we went to the Grand Californian, and then after my Disneyland stays, I moved to a couple of Marriotts because I love Marriotts.
So for anybody listening, if you don't know this about Carrie, she loves cats, Disney, and Marriotts. Carrie loves Marriotts. So you did 2 of them, right?
Mm-hmm. I've stayed at every Marriott chain, probably. Well, maybe not the ones that are right across the road, but I've stayed at many of them around Disneyland. Yeah, multiple times. That
is your go-to. If you're not staying at a Disney resort, you're at a Marriott.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
for sure. They've got a great point system, probably the best in the biz. If you were going to be loyal to a hotel chain, that's the one.
That's the one. Now, and this is not sponsored. There's no ad. Yeah. There's no kickback you're getting for this. This is literally, Carrie really does love Marriott's.
My colleague at my magical job, she travels the world for work, and we were talking about that this week, and she agreed. She's like, hands down, the best. If you're going to be loyal to any hotel brand, Marriott's.
It's Marriott.
And I was like, I'm glad. I'm like, exactly. I'm like I'm pretty, like the fact that she agrees with me and she travels all over the world.
She does that much traveling. Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I felt pretty good that I was in.
I knew that.
I feel the same way. How cool is that?
Okay, so you started Paradise Pier. So you did one night at Paradise Pier, and that is the hotel. It's Disneyland Hotel, but it's across the street. So you and I have stayed there together. We stayed there at the Expo.
It's kind of, I'm going to say it's nestled between between the Grand Californian and the Disneyland Hotel.
Nestled. I don't know. I struggle with this whole location thing because to me, it's not between those two. It's further than.
No, it's not. Disneyland is further. I'm sorry. I'll show you a map. We should not be making our poor listeners listen to our Paradise Pier debates.
Yeah, Paradise Pier is probably, so it's not my favorite because it felt like it was so far. because I love the Grand Californian.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I have not stayed at the Disneyland Hotel yet. That's on my list. That is my list of things to do.
I got it booked for September.
Of course you do. Okay, so you stayed Paradise Pier one night, and then you moved over to the Grand Californian.
Yep, for a couple of nights.
And how fantastic was my hotel? Did it miss me?
Oh, good grief.
It's right in the middle of downtown Disney.
Yep.
It's their deluxe hotel. Like, it actually has an entrance into Disney's California Adventure direct from the hotel.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
That's how close it is. So
it's actually I think technically the hotel's in the park. Like, you know, if we wanted to what do you really like wow people, like it's within the park's
like parameters. The park's perimeter.
Yeah, perimeter. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah,
I think that would be a way to explain it better. Like to say, there's like I think the hotel is in the footprint of the park. Like it is. Yeah. It is because really it's on Disneyland. Like it's on the downtown Disney is there, and then the park's right behind downtown Disney, and the hotel is right there.
Right in the middle. Yeah.
Yeah. I'd say it's part of the park, really.
So it's really convenient for afternoon breaks, and like at the end of the night, you're tired, you don't have far to go. Like it's right there, and it's beautiful.
Yeah, it is beautiful. It's the rooms, the rooms I think have all been redone, even nicer than what they were before. As much as you poo-poo Paradise Pier, like they all are fairly close and within a 10 or 13-ish minute to get to.
They are.
But even for, there are the difference between, there are good neighbor hotels that are right across the road. Like there are good neighbor hotels that are closer, a shorter walk to get to the hotel than it is to get from the gates to Disneyland Hotel, because that is at the very end of the downtown Disney. But the thing with staying on property is, and even at the Disneyland Hotel and Paradise Pier, is that when you come into to access the property, the park, you go through Disney Springs and you go through like a very
downtown Disney, not Disney.
Downtown Disney. Sorry, you go through a very small security check-in. Right. So like it's on the far end. Sure, there's lineups because there's parking down there and whatever, but the lineups are much more manageable than if you were on the other side where the bus loop is and everybody coming in from off-site. Like you could wait on that side, and I've done it before. You can wait probably 20 minutes to get in because the security lines are so long. So there are definitely lots of options that are a 13 to 15 minute walk once because you got to walk through the bus area, you got to get out to the street, you got to cross the lights, you got to get across the road and get to your place, but it's like it's that little bit of time, like, so depending on the time of day you're going in and out,
it really is a different entrance or a different way in if you're staying at a Disney resort than if you're staying at a Good Neighbor or another one. Like, you talk about this bus loop. I don't know where the bus loop is. I don't think I've ever seen the bus loop.
Yeah, it's like a big square.
It's like the opposite end of the entryway. Like, if you think of the parks being in the middle, and there's one entryway all the way to the right and one entryway all the way to the left, the one to the left is the bus loops and everything. I've never come in through that way. I've only ever come in through... You never would.
If you've never stayed off property, there's no reason why you would ever...
Yeah.
And when I stay off property often, I will stay on the other side of Disneyland, like close to the Paradise Pier.
Right.
So then when I would go into the park, and if I was walking, I would walk up and kind of enter the same way as if I was staying at Paradise Pier or Disneyland, like the side that I'm saying that generally should have a much shorter line to get in. So
the other side is where that big parking garage is that they built, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
But when the trams are running, people get on the trams and go in. And then they do security at the parking garage. So once they do security at the parking garage, they come in. The people at that entrance that I'm talking about would be people that were parking. Like there's a downtown Disney parking lot there that people would and like people in that parking lot would come through that way, but it would just be that and the hotel guests versus all the people off the street that come in off the other side. So, and the buses that come off the other side. Like, it's a bus loop where because if you go and stay at, if you park at the Toy Store parking lot, which is down by the convention center, they come in all off the bus, they all come in on the bus, and then the regular bus, the Anaheim Resort Transit, plus all the people that are walking come in that side. But anyways, but there are definitely places like it's very easy access whether you're on site or off site. That's all that I wanted to. Right. Because, we always talk about on-site, like, it's on-site or bust when you're at Disneyland, but it's
important for people to know, like, there are other places to stay that they call them good neighbor hotels. So they're almost like they're affiliated with Disney. They know that they're decent hotels. Like, they're good places to stay. They're just not the quote unquote Disney hotels.
Yeah. They have like they have a partnership. They have like
partnership
to be a good neighbor hotel. So.
Right.
But anyways.
Okay. So now,
probably talked way too long about that. So yeah, I'm at Disneyland.
So Carrie gets very passionate about Disneyland. So you stayed at the Grand Californian. Mm-hmm. Love it.
It was lovely. I missed you.
It did.
It was very comfortable.
Yeah.
I don't know what else you want me to say. By the time I left, all the Christmas lights, all the Christmas was up. So they had the gingerbread house and the Christmas tree and all the gingerbread goodies in the lobby.
Yes.
Which was really cool.
And one thing that you and I don't do a good job of is like these live little snippets and stuff. Because we totally could have done that on Instagram while you were there. Because we actually had like not a FaceTime call, a Facebook Messenger call, you and I, a video call. So you could show me that stuff. We should have just done it on Instagram. And of course, it's just coming to me now, 3 weeks later after you're home. But we'll get better at that. But so they had all the decorations up and stuff. But you spent a good amount of days in the parks.
Mm-hmm. I did.
And you were in your glory. And I have to tell you, Carrie, every picture you sent me, every selfie you sent, it was pure joy on your face. Like, it was like you were home. Like, you could totally see it on your face, how joyful you were just to be there.
It was awesome. Like, when we went to Walt Disney World and we were in Magic Kingdom,
yes.
I didn't feel anything exciting about being in Magic Kingdom. The first thing I'm pretty sure I said to you, or the second or third thing, because I probably didn't say it first because then you would roll your eyes, was that I miss Disneyland. Whenever I'm in Magic Kingdom...
it was the first thing. It was the first thing you said. We walked through the turnstiles, or we got in there, we stepped onto Main Street, and you looked at me and said, I miss Disneyland.
Yeah, like you're expecting me to like start crying or being emotional, and I'm like, I really miss Disneyland. And then I usually say, Disneyland in California, Walt's original Magic Kingdom.
Yes, and then we literally discussed this all the way up Main Street, because this is like what people are listening to us. This is exactly what we talk about, like when we're there too. This is the same conversations we have.
So yeah, it was nice to like. I just love it. I can't explain it. I like it, and I know it looks exactly like Main Street in Florida, but there's just something different about it. So I really spent a lot of time. I took pictures of everything. I spent a lot of time on park benches having snacks. I was there for so long and I did not ride all of the attractions. Far from it. I rode a handful of attractions. I had some, like I was traveling with a friend, so while she was there, we did some stuff together, but I really just like kind of moseyed and just enjoyed being there. And it was awesome. Looked at all the shops, looked at everything that was new, took pictures of everything. We got to see a little bit of there was I don't know if there might have been a little bit of like fall and Halloween left. Maybe not too much when we got there, but Christmas was like, we got there and within a day or two, it was Christmas everywhere. And I don't think I might have been there for Christmas, like just at the start of it for like a day, but I've never been there, and this whole trip was all Christmas and
to Disney, experience it all. Like you got a chance in this trip to experience Christmas there.
Yeah, and what I've said about Disneyland in October and Halloween is the same for Christmas. Like, they do holidays there so well, and it's all included in your price of admission.
So this is the conversation we were having from there. We did have quite a few little video chats from benches, which was great. So thank you for taking me with you. But that's a huge difference between Disneyland and Walt Disney World, is what's included in your price of admission when it comes to these kind of special events and things. Like, and you give me grief about it all the time, but it's true. But I agree with you on this. Like at Disneyland, they have the parades. They have everything happening without the price of without the $120 or whatever Christmas party ticket.
$120. So
I can't even remember how much they are because I will not buy them. Like, it's just, for me, it's too much.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like, even I don't even I just kind of shake my head, and I'm happy to be there, and I'm just like, they just do this so well. So we did go to so in the park, hanging out, chilling out, we got to see Avengers.
Yes, I want to hear about that. Yeah,
and got to go on the Spider-Man ride, which was it's like a Spider-Man version of Toy Story Mania, but like awesome and different and new. And now what you would do with a ride, it's funny what you Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger.
Sorry, 1 sec. You hit your mic. That was it.
Okay, Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger, whatever spin, turned into Toy Story Mania. Has now turned into web slingers.
So it's kind of like the evolution of
what would you do 10 years later if you were going to do a ride that was sort of the same? And it's really, really cool. You'll definitely love it. So we saw that. We tried lots of new food at Disneyland. Like, there's a lot more plant-based options that aren't just plant-based burgers.
like the Impossible burgers and stuff.
Yeah, and I think in the new land, they seem to be putting more of that into their menu instead of just the one odd thing. So there was
a lot more variety of food.
It's just different choices. Different food. There's still burgers and chicken. There's everything, still whatever, all that stuff.
Fingers,
but different food, and the food is so good there. Like the quick service food is so good there. We couldn't get a table service dining reservation to save our lives. Like I was trying. Before we went, I tried a little bit when we got there. Like we went into the Lamplight Lounge as a walk up one night, but other than that, we just kind of gave up and we just ate. Yeah, we just ate quick service, and it was amazing. Like delicious food, lots of different types of food, whatever. So yeah, it was exactly as I expected it to be. It was the same. Like it did feel like the way that it should be. Just that some people were wearing masks and we had to wear masks indoors. But like the crowds were there. It was busy. There was lots of waiting for parades and waiting for fireworks, like back to the way that like Disneylanders, like they camp out, like.
Yes. So you got to see the parades and fireworks, and they were the holiday ones, right?
Once the holiday season started, yeah. So so we went to Merriest Nites. So when we got there, Christmas was coming into effect, and then they had the very first Merriest Nites, which is the very first Disneyland Christmas party. And then the very next day, the 12th of November, Christmas starts at Disneyland. So at the Merriest Nites, they lit the castle, they've got the Christmas parade, they've got the Christmas fireworks, they have characters in Christmas outfits, but like special Christmas outfits for the Merriest Nites. They had characters around the park in their outfits, not like Mickey and Minnie have a special outfit, and that was what was all on social media. But they've got characters throughout the park. They had entertainment, like live entertainment, not just dance parties everywhere. They had live entertainment everywhere, and treats and photo opportunities and whatever. So we did that. That night they had special merch, which we went into a virtual queue, and we were in and out of the virtual queue with our merchandise in like 15 to 20 minutes, which was amazing.
I hope that stuff stays. That's pretty cool, right?
It came like our queue came in at like 9:00 and the parade was at like 9:30. So like we got to the line or whatever the timing was. It was a half an hour before the parade. We got in the line, got out, and were able to get back to Main Street to watch the parade. Like, that's how quickly the queue worked. So.
And I saw, weren't you wearing ears?
I bought Mickey ears, which I never do, but I thought, get into the.
She was so happy she was wearing ears.
Yeah, they gave us lit up lanyards, and so then we bought matching ears to wear. But the point I want to make though with Disneyland is so that this was the party, and except for like one thing, which was like really, 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 really awesome. On the 12th, Christmas started at Disneyland. And the parade runs every single day, a couple of times a day. The fireworks run on nights when there's fireworks. The characters are still walking around and being in their places with Christmas outfits on or winter outfits on. They're not maybe wearing the one that Mickey and Minnie are wearing on the night, but they're walking around with like their ski outfits on and their Christmas sweaters and whatever. So there's still ample opportunity to get festive shots and experiences with all these characters. So, you're really paying the premium, I guess, to get the different things, the entertainment, and getting to see the Muppets Christmas Caroling coach.
Okay, so tell me about this coach. Tell me, because I didn't see much of it on social, and I want to understand this whole Muppets thing. Talk me through it.
Well, and one thing, like, there's something to say about, like, I sort of pay attention to social media, but, like, there's often, like, if I'm busy, I don't even look. Like,
I know.
Like, when I was away, I didn't watch any of my regular YouTube stuff. I didn't even go on TikTok for 2 weeks, like, to look at anything.
And
like,
how
I really
glorious
don't pay.
Was that?
And I sometimes do that, like, on a day-to-day basis. Like, there could be days where I don't even look at any social media till I get home from work. Like, I don't even peek at it. So in this situation, like, we go in, we get our little lanyards, our light up lanyards, and I'm like, oh, we got to buy ears, blah, 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 blah. And we get the map, and we seriously, like, I open up the map, and I see this little icon, and I was like, what? Like, I went, Marie, come here. We got to sit down. I sat down. I got on my phone. I put the light on so that I could read it because it was getting kind of dark. And I was like, oh my God. Like, I had no idea that was there. So do you want to talk about, like, pure joy? Like, that is joy. And that's where social media can ruin things. Because we just bought these tickets. They cost an arm and a leg. Like,
you got them at like the 11th hour. Like, they were sold out. You got like a lottery of tickets. We early in the morning, like 6:30 or something, front desk, the tickets that they held for the people that are staying on property. Yeah. And so we didn't know we were getting any free necklace. We didn't know if there was anything else they were giving us, what kind of characters, what kind of experience. Like, I knew that for Halloween they did a full parade. So I'm like, okay, there's going to be a parade and there's going to be fireworks. Like, I knew that was going to happen because that's just, but I knew nothing about it. And then when I opened up this flyer and saw the Muppet, I just saw that I just could see in the dark with my old eyes that need readers. I could see that those words were Muppets, and I almost died. Like, died. Like, that's pure joy. I needed to sit down. Pure like, what excitement. Joy. What excitement to walk into this party. No
the price
clue.
Of admission right there. So what it was like 3 or 4 times a night. How many times? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4 times a night. They the double-decker bus? They converted it into a caroling coach. So on the top was like Pepe, Gonzo, Fozzie, and the Camilla and her girlfriends, the chicken, and then on the main level was Kermit and Piggy. And so it drove up Main Street, circled the hub, and then as it circled the hub, like at the top of Main Street, it stopped and did like a 15-minute show. And then when it goes up and down Main Street and does the loop without the show, like they're kind of talking and chatting and singing and whatever, but then they do like a full show, and it was popular. Like, I kind of caught snippets of it all of like the times it went through, but for the very last one, I wanted to like be right front and center and watch it. Like, I think thing. It was like 11:30. I made sure that we were there to watch it, the whole thing. And even that one, like, everybody was there. Like all showings, like Main Street was jammed to see this Muppet coach.
And that must have brought you so much joy too.
It's awesome.
Like, didn't you just have like a tear in your eye thinking, look how many people loved my Muppets?
I suppose. I was just excited. I didn't really get, there was not a lot of tearing up, but I'm always just
You were probably
excited.
like a kid in the candy store. Like, it was so, like,
It's
what a
just awesome.
surprise. What a
Like
surprise.
That happened to me years ago when one year I was in Las Vegas with my aunt, and I had like old Disneyland tickets that like with one day on them, and I grabbed them and I brought them to Vegas, and then my aunt and I think we took the bus from Vegas to Disneyland, and we went in and I think we bought Christmas or Halloween party tickets, and then we used the other ticket to go in on another day. So we did that, and we were at this Halloween party, and like I'm totally clueless, and one of the floats has at the very end, Miss Piggy is like hanging out of it, and I almost died. It was exactly the same thing. Like, I couldn't believe it. Like, I probably screamed and whatever, and I was taking like a million pictures. And if the parade was twice at night, I probably watched it both times just to see Miss Piggy at the end. And I remember like that little snippet. There was no other Muppet except the float went by and she was hanging out the back of it.
Right.
I'm pretty sure there was not one Muppet.
That's so awesome.
Or I probably would have died if there was lots of Muppets. It was just her. and that's pretty much the exact same joy I felt when I saw that they were going to be like a main part of the party, was that same experience. So yes, that's how happy I get over seeing the Muppets
it's so
incorporated into things.
Yeah, and they're definitely starting to make more appearances and appear in many more things. I mean, Kermit was at D23 too.
That was very cool.
It's so cool. I'm so glad that it happened for you that way. Meaning you had no idea beforehand. So it wasn't like you didn't walk in with an expectation, and it was a true joyous surprise.
Yeah, it was.
Oh, that's so fantastic.
And the thing with the Muppets too, like the Muppets, they do like come here and there, like, they do a new Muppet movie and then the Muppets are here, and they do, the Muppet things they've done they did Muppets Now, and then the different things that they've done over the years. Like, Muppets come about and they're here for a little bit to like promote something, and then they disappear. Like, I just want to see the Muppets here all the time. Always. Again. Yeah. Right? Like how they were on our TV for the Muppet Show years. Like, I just want their existence, or to everybody to be permanent. Or
it looks like they're going that way, Carrie, because they're coming back, and I'm hopeful for everyone, but especially for you, that there's a lot more Muppets to come.
I hope so. So that was
your Christmas party.
Yeah.
But what you're saying is that everything except like the parade, the fireworks, whatever, everybody got that without a Christmas party ticket.
Yeah.
Go forward. So there was special entertainment.
I watched the parade multiple times after that, and I saw the fireworks. They make it snow on Main Street like 2 or 3 times a night, like on a regular night, where like the skies, the street goes blue and it's snowing, and they do that 3 times at night, I think, around a regular night. So I saw that multiple times. I saw the parade. I saw the fireworks. It's just
which is very different than Walt Disney World.
Yeah, like you have to wait till closer to Christmas to get the parade included. Like once the Christmas Christmas parties were done, then you got the regular. The Christmas parade went away, and the Christmas parade kind of stood in its place over the holidays or whatever. But yeah, so that was awesome. And then over at DCA, they had the Festival of the Holidays, which we've been there before with a spring festival, and you were kind of like, this is like nothing like Epcot, blah blah blah. It's so small, like whatever.
I was
kind of like, I guess so too.
It didn't wow me. It didn't wow me. Yeah, it was so different, and it wasn't what I expected. And I think
we were probably there for like their food and wine version or whatever the heck that one's called in the spring. And I kind of felt the same way. Like I was like, I guess it's just sort of whatever. But the Festival of the Holidays, because I was there for so long, I went in a couple of nights. I got the little Festival of Holidays badge where you get the little coupons to trade in for your nibblies and stuff. Like when I really like was just wandering around and paying attention to what's in the book and paying attention to the entertainment and like really seeing what it truly is, it's a lovely little festival because, and maybe I feel this way because I had been at, Disney World and seeing like what Food and Wine has become, like total craziness, lots of people drinking, lots of people acting kind of weird, like it not being the experience that many of us fell in love with years ago when it first started. Like at DCA, it's like a strip of like a walking path, and there's booths, and sure, there's lineups here and there, but it just seemed way more reasonable. Like people were there like on date nights and whatever, and people taking lots of Instagram pictures and doing all that stuff, social media stuff, lives and whatever. Like all that stuff is still there. But it just seemed like more reasonable. Like, you could get a couple things. You could go to the few little bits of entertainment. Like you could go over a couple of nights and catch all of the little shows that they do.
Right.
You could try everything. Like you could try everything because there's not 72 food booths. Like you really could try one or two things from every booth if you wanted to. It just like I really enjoyed it.
That's good.
And I was by myself. I was exploring it by myself, and I enjoyed it.
Because your travel companion that you went with was only there for a certain amount of time. Like you spent a good deal of time on your own as well.
Yeah.
So to experience that and enjoy it
is awesome.
Yeah, because you're right. Like we had that conversation in Walt Disney World where. I think we're all in agreement that when Food and Wine at Epcot first started, we loved it. Like, we loved the idea of it. You went, you got different nibbles from around the world, depending on what you liked. And it was fun. And now, I can tell you that I do not ever want to be in Epcot at night during Food and Wine, especially on a weekend. It has become a place for, quote unquote, drinking around the world, where there's, people have t-shirts made of it. Like, and who knows if this was in Toronto when I was 20, maybe I would have been one of those people with the shirts on doing the same thing, but it isn't for me. This year, I think probably Carrie was the first time that I had actually, had the misfortune of being around belligerent drunks at Epcot. And I just like, and I like to drink. But like I was in line to get a beer one night, and just a beer in the US pavilion, and the people around me, like they were just, it wasn't fun for me. Like that part wasn't fun for me. So I'm happy to hear that Disneyland has this kind of thing that seems a little more, I don't know if the word is civilized, but you know what I mean? Like it
seemed that way. And I was there, like,
you were there at night.
I guess like I was there at nighttime. It was a weeknight probably that I was, the couple of nights that I explored it on my own. But yeah, it was really nice. Like the one thing too, that they had this show called Viva Navidad, and I like watched it twice in one night. And the second time I like FaceTimed or Facebook chatted, videoed my mom and my aunt, because the first time I watched it, I was like, this is an amazing little show. And I got to get I thought, wouldn't this be fun to show my mom and my aunt to get them into the Christmas spirit? So it's like Donald and the Three Caballeros. And then they bring out like Brazilian music. They bring out African music. I think it's like samba and like just different types of music. And they meld it all together with the Viva Navidad. So it like starts off with like Three Caballeros, but then goes into the different types of music, like the samba, and there's drums, and there's and it's just, and it all like transforms into, and there's like flamenco type dancer. I don't know the names of all the, but you know what I mean. Like, so you imagine like there's people on drums that are more like an African like beat, and then there's like flamenco like type samba dancers coming out. They have all these, and they're all intertwining and spinning, and like there's mariachi guys singing, and there's the Three Caballeros, and they come out and they take up like a whole section on like the route that you loop around, like the Paradise Pier area. Like they take up a humongous area floats come in and it's like swinging, and they've got these big tall like puppets that are like 2-story like I'm gonna call them puppets, but they're not, but like big tall things that they roll out. Mickey and Minnie come out on bikes and like in outfits that match, and it just like takes over, and I'm like, oh my goodness, like this is a fantastic show. So like that's included, and then all the entertainment that happens. They have like I think at Christmas time they also have all the characters coming out in holiday/winter outfits. They have toy soldiers. They've got Santa there. They've got Santa. This is me. I know you're like, here, let's wrap it up. They got Santa in both parks. Like you can access Santa like any day, all day, and the lines aren't too long. Like all of this is included in this wondrous place we call the Disneyland Resort in California. Anyways, I feel sorry for the people listening to me this week.
No, not at all. Not at all. Because you know what? I think the people listening this week are saying they can totally hear how much Carrie loves Disneyland. Like, it's so genuine. She really does love this place.
And if anybody has concerns over like whether Disneyland is right for them or really not understanding it, like I'd be glad to like chat with anybody to kind of explain, to help figure it if it is for them, because I think it is. If you're a Disney fan and you love Walt Disney World, it's like something you have to do. And like maybe it's just like maybe the odd person, or maybe lots of people come back and they're like, yeah, I still like Walt Disney World. But I think if you understand, if your expectations are set and you understand why it's different or how it's different.
Yes. That's the key, right? Like that is really the difference, Carrie, is setting the expectations before you go. I love Disneyland too. I think it's fantastic. I think my first experience at Disneyland wasn't that great because my expectations were that it was going to be like Walt Disney World. Mm-hmm. But once you realize and appreciate the differences, then you can love them both.
Yeah, for sure. And you can get so much like for Walt Disney World, like it's so big, you feel you need to go for like a week or more, like because there's so much to see and do, and you need to go over and over and over and over again because there's so much stuff to try and do and see and whatever. And sure, there's new stuff to do at Disneyland and DCA too, and great foods and snacks and whatever. But like you could go away to Disneyland for like a stay where you only have 3 park days, where you spend 3 full park days or sort of full park days and have the most amazing vacation. Yes. Like you can have that same joy and love that you have of that big long trip you spend at Walt Disney World, and you can have a little compact, like fulfilling trip just with 3 days, because you're going to get all the joys and feels and funs and snacks and rides and things that you love at Walt Disney World, but you could do it in a shorter time and then enjoy enjoy the different things that you like, the different things that are there, or love Disneyland for the reasons that I love Disneyland, because it is the same, but it is truly totally different, like totally different. And you don't have to stay on site, as I was ranting earlier. Yes. There's so many good neighbors. So you wait in a line outside in the morning a little bit longer or whatever, right? Like the tourists attack Disneyland in the morning differently than the locals, right? The tourists go for park opening. The locals come like mid-morning, right? So there's 2 rushes to get into the parks in the morning. But yeah, like it's very doable. Even if the staying on site at the Grand Californian isn't in your budget, like that's not a reason not to go to Disneyland. Not to go to Disneyland. So you were so Carrie's had, just in case you hear the noise in the background, there has been a cat that has jumped up on our desk. This is now a couple times. And he's there again.
And he's here again. And since her mic is attached to the desk, that's what you're hearing. But you stayed at the Grand Californian, and then you had your friend went, and you ended up moving over to your Marriott. So some of these days that you were doing these things, you were coming from your Marriott.
Yep, for sure.
And you walked or you Ubered.
Yeah, or I walked. Yeah, I love to stay. My favorite place is staying at the Anaheim Marriott, which is at the convention center, and that is I timed it. It's probably, depending if you get, like, being in that area, like at Catella and Harbor, like that it's a little bit farther from the main gate, like whether you get the lights or not, like if you were adults that were like walking like adults would briskly, it's probably a 15 to 20 minute walk from there. So that was the walk I was doing. And I don't know that I even took an Uber or Lyft once from when I was staying at that one. I stayed at one down the road and I took
further along.
And we took lifts, but yeah, I did the walking.
And you did a little bit of working from the Unmagical while you were there.
Yeah, I did. I did quite a bit. Like a lot of days, I was working the day and then going into the parks in the evening because really, I can't take. If I took all those days as vacation days, and I wouldn't get to go on many more vacations.
Exactly.
And I did feel a little bit of anxiety working when I was in California because of the time difference. Because,
yes.
All of my colleagues were at home on a different time zone and, the pressure to kind of get up early and start working as early as I could so I could be on the same, schedule as them or as best as I could. But also I really worried on days where I had meetings because, you should have saw my calendar. I was putting reminders left, right, and center. And I was putting, I went into all my meetings and I put it, I changed the time zone hoping that, it would pop up and whatever. I really felt anxious about that. Working in Florida was different. I didn't feel anxious at all when I did my working days in Florida. But yeah, in California I don't know.
Your California working days were a little anxious because of the time zone difference too. I get it.
Maybe it's silly, but I did feel the pressure. It was, I don't know. If something could go wrong, I would miss something or someone would be looking for me and I wouldn't be there or whatever. I did feel that, which is kind of silly, but I did.
Right. But once you got to Florida, you worked from there and you were fine. So it was really easy. that time zone really kind of messed with your head a little bit for work purposes. And that makes sense. But what a great feeling it is to be able to go, for people with unmagical jobs like ours, where we still have the option to sort of quote unquote work from home. That's been a blessing for us to at least get a few more days in our happy place, even if you are working.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was awesome.
And you didn't tell anybody. We covered that in the last one because you didn't want to jinx it.
Because you never know, right? It just takes one negative COVID test when we're leaving the country.
One positive COVID test.
One positive COVID test. No, we need a negative COVID test. One positive COVID test. It's once you get there, if you can't come home, then who cares?
Who cares?
The fact that, I didn't want to tell everyone I was going to Disneyland and then not get there. But yeah, it was exactly as I expected it to be. It felt the way I expected it to be. It felt like home. I loved, I ate snacks, I ate the food, I did what I usually do there. I didn't run around like a maniac trying to do everything. I just kind of, and we did that at Walt Disney World. When we've returned, we've just, we talked so long about what are we going to do? How are we going to feel? And I think both of us just kind of do what we usually do.
It's so fantastic. I can't tell you how happy I was for you to be able to see that joy, to see you experience, I know, going to Walt Disney World, whatever, for you to go to Disneyland, and I knew what that meant to you because it was my trip in August to Walt Disney World. It's like your heart is bursting because you've missed it so much and you feel like you're home, and it's just, it really is your happy place. And I was so happy to see that joy for you.
The part where for me where I was happy to be there and I loved it, when I walk in, I say hi to Walt and look at, because they've got the Christmas tree up in the window now and whatever, and I was okay there in Main Street and whatever. I was just happy to be there finally. Where I got emotional was, and you'll laugh, is the dang Disneyland Band. That's where
Carrie loves a band.
I love the Disneyland Band, and that's where I was I was kind of all by myself waiting for the train, and I'm fine waiting for the train. I'm taking pictures or whatever, and that marching band came up Main Street, and I was like, oh my goodness.
And
I miss you guys so much. And for me, I have so many good memories there. Our friend Carolyn, I find if anything that got me emotional was thinking of her. I thought of her so many times that week of this, the laughs we had and the things we've done there. And if, I think that kind kind of,
you spent a lot of good memories with Carolyn.
We had a pretty epic trip there one year.
Yes.
A really epic trip.
This was when you guys were VIPs behind ropes. You were pretty.
We got into Walt's apartment. We had that one epic trip, and so I find for me more that nostalgia and those memories kind of flooded me, going back more than more than like being like, oh my goodness, I can't believe on Main Street, because I was on another Main Street and I had been in a theme park and I had traveled and I kind of was like, oh my goodness, like this is,
right.
You know, I have had my return to like leaving the country and going to a place I love. So, but yeah, like those memories definitely were all over the place, especially when I was by myself, because, you know, you're in your own head and you got lots of, you know, you're not talking to anybody. So you're just remembering and laughing and thinking about all of the, you know, all the memories you have. You know, with like I've been with lots of people to that, like lots of friends to that park, and that's the stuff that I remember when I'm walking around and taking pictures of things, right? Like all the fun times I've had with Carolyn and with you, and I've brought my aunt there, I brought my mom there, I brought my sister. Like I've been everybody in my family, you know, I've brought to everybody except for my cats. We've all been to Disneyland. So it's lots of good memories and nostalgia for me there, and that's what kind of kept me smiling and thinking when I was there by myself, because I don't mind traveling by myself, but like I think that's where you and I are different. Like,
yes,
I don't know that I would ever go and spend that much time there by myself.
Right.
Like,
yeah, it was different for you. Yeah. We talked about that. Like me, I'm in my glory when I'm there by myself, and you were kind of like, yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, like you take, like I was taking lots of pictures but being there for so long, like I was taking pictures in the start of my trip, and then when I was there by myself, I was still taking more pictures and looking around and looking at everything. Like I might just go and like look at the stuff and see the stuff I love over and over again or whatever, and you know, whatever. But yeah, like I'd like to have somebody to talk to, and I guess like later on in the trip when I was alone, I was calling my mom and my aunt and chatting with them and showing them places and walking around with them, and that was kind of fun and different. And I'm like, well, that's one way to keep myself with some company. Yeah. But yeah, like I think I like to have somebody, even if I say nothing. Like when you're in a place with like that with someone that loves it as much as you do, you don't even need to talk. It's just like, sure, you do talk and we jibber jabber and whatever, but like even for me, it's just sharing it with someone that enjoys it just as much, or kind of showing the love and sharing the love with people so that people see the joy in it, right? Like one or the other. But yeah, like even just being with someone and not like, you don't even have to talk. You both are enjoying it exactly the same way, and it shows that you are reveling in all that magic. So yeah,
I enjoy that too. Like I enjoy being there with my friends and enjoying and all of that. But there is a point where I absolutely need sort of my quote unquote alone time, and that like 30 days by myself in Florida, I was in my glory.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm more of like a 1 or 2 day. Like if I had to stay by myself, like to kind of my in between the two trips was long, right? It wasn't just 2 days, right? Like in between, you know, from when I was when I was by myself to when I came to Florida was quite a few days. So I think that's a little too much. Like I think I'd be okay with a couple of days, but yeah, I don't think solo traveling is necessarily my thing.
Right. And that's okay, right? Like it's good to find these things out, and everybody knows themselves, right? Whether it's good for them or not. And, but I'm just so glad you got to go and you got to experience it, and it was everything that you wanted it to be. And,
it was. She's still, everything about it is just perfect.
It's still perfect.
Perfect. Oh.
So yes, anybody that's thinking about a trip to Disneyland, you know, reach out to Carrie. She's more than happy to talk to anybody about it. And if you guys have more questions about Disneyland, send them in to us. We're happy to cover them on another podcast, because I think there's a lot of people out there that are curious and or haven't been to Disneyland and want to know more about it. And Carrie's always happy to talk about it.
Always. Sorry.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay, Carrie, it's that time. Do you have pixie dust this week? What brought you some joy this week?
This week I went for, I got invited to lunch one of the days I was at work at the last minute, because they didn't know that I was going to be in the office, because I haven't been telling people which days I'm going in and not going in. And I got invited to lunch, and it was a couple of my colleagues, but it was one of my colleagues that recently retired.
Oh.
And so I hadn't seen her since, well, really before COVID. We saw each other maybe once or twice, you know, in the office, but she's retired now, and she is so happy. She is beyond glowing. I joked and said that she's iridescent. She's like shimmery. She's glowing. She's shimmering. She's so happy. She made the right time, the right whatever. She was just beaming, and like spending lunch with her, to see her smiley face, to see her shining, beaming, iridescent face, just glowing back at me, hearing stories about, what she's been up to and how happy she is, just made my day. It made my week. It was so awesome. So,
oh, that's fantastic.
That's my pixie dust.
Gets you thinking about retirement. Oh.
I'm not retiring anytime soon. It doesn't get me thinking about retirement.
Neither.
It's just awesome to see, someone retire, at the right time when they want to, seeing, that they're loving every second of it the minute they're retired, and making the most of it is just awesome.
And enjoying all that time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So,
one day. I spoke to a colleague a couple of weeks ago. An old colleague. She retired, and she called me, and I missed her call. And when I called her back, I was like, I was in a meeting, and she's like, "Are you not retired yet?" And I'm like, "How old do you think I am?"
You're far from it.
Hello? No, I haven't retired yet. Anyway, but that's good pixie dust. Nice lunch.
How about
friends.
you? Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was awesome. It was a great little thing this week. How about you?
So mine, maybe you're going to laugh at me, but I don't care. So my pixie dust was, I actually unpacked my suitcase, which usually takes me a while when I come home.
That is, yeah.
Yeah. But here's the thing. So remember when we were at D23 and I bought that little, what do you call it? The puffy jacket. When we say the puffy jacket, it's like a vest, right? Like it's got no sleeves.
Puffy vest.
Right. So because I'm always like overheating, like I'm always hot. And so this jacket was perfect because it had no arms. So I was like, oh, this will be perfect for in the winter, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, it was freezing yesterday, and I had to go out with my nephew, and I pulled out my little puffy jacket. And let me tell you, I'm quite pleasantly surprised. It was perfect.
It worked well.
Yeah, it worked really well. I was very excited, and it has a little Walt Disney Imagineering symbol on it, so yay. And yeah, it was perfect. Sometimes you buy these things and you think, and then you get home and you're like, yeah, I'm never going to wear it.
You buy these things.
Okay, so sometimes I buy these things and then I think I'm never going to wear them. That's exactly what I was thinking, that this was going to be one of those things, and it's not. I actually love it. So it worked out well.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's very good. I'm glad it did. It was. It's a nice. It was a nice puffy jacket.
Yeah,
The merch at Destination D was awesome. So
it was. I wish they had hoodies. They usually have hoodies, and they don't. They didn't this year, so we were all like, "Oh my gosh, we got no hoodies."
Yeah, you guys bought them all last time, and I don't even know how many times I heard all of you that bought them last time say, "Oh, I wish there was hoodies. Maybe tomorrow. Maybe Sunday. Maybe."
I know everybody kept telling me, maybe the next day, maybe this afternoon, maybe whatever, and I kept going back to the store and buying more stuff, but there was never any hoodies. But whatever. But it was good. Yes. We do have a little bit of extra pixie dust. Mm-hmm. We did hear from one of our listeners, Nicole, and she is, she always reaches out to us when we ask questions, when we're asking for engagement, different things. She's always like the first to send us a note or whatever. And she sent us a little note this morning that she needed a little pick me up, and she was listening to us and we made her laugh. So really happy to hear that. And so we just wanted to give a shout out to her and say, hi, Nicole.
Hello.
Hello. Well, Carrie, thank you again for chatting with me this week. And we're back to our regularly scheduled programming. So we got to get that all scheduled.
Back in our groove, our regular groove.
It's so crazy when you've been traveling and stuff, the groove, and well, whatever. We'll get into it. It's all good.
We'll be back for a little while before we're on another adventure.
Yes. Not too long, I hope. Thanks for listening to the Pixie Dust Fan Podcast. We hope you enjoyed the episode.
Make sure you're following us on your favorite podcast player so you'll get a new episode every week. And find us on social media too. We'd love to hear from you.
Till next time, remember, you are never too old to be young. Chase your dreams and design your own happily ever after.